Pete.
All right.
All right, explain what we're doing here today.
We're doing a remake of a scavenger hunt that I initially did 25 years ago as a proposal to my wife.
Envelope number 1.
Did you see he had the other one taped to the ceiling? I walk in and like hit me. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Come in if you can get in.
We're not going inside, but you can grab a jacket and meet us out here. Yep, here we go. Clue number 1.
Oh God.
Yes.
She was our first child, so she could do no wrong.
She did all wrong, but she could do no wrong.
Yeah, we had 6 perfect children, so I just,
Maggie, actually, I met through Pete. Sweet lady. Even when she was a teenager, she was a couple of years younger than me and Pete, and she had this huge farm, not too far from a lot of our friends because we all lived out in the rural areas. And we just kind of all found a home out there. And there was a big gang of us, a huge group. And we used to go out there and run around the farm and just act crazy. And we all just, stay the night, and all of us just have a big party together. We're just like a little family, like a little group. It was something else.
she was very scholastic, loved to read, still loves to read. Went to school to major in journalism. She was the oldest. Sometimes it's hard for her to forget that she was the oldest.
All our kids were real good scholastic-wise.
Mm-hmm.
I know they got their brains from me, but I had a hard time getting through school, so I shouldn't say that.
Okay.
So I actually went to high school. So when Pete came and traveled from California, we were in speech and debate class together, and we all graduated a little bit different of years, but I've known him since high school.
George?
I was just fortunate enough to marry into the family, I guess. So there we are. Yeah.
They married us.
Yeah. Maggie
Maggie
actually
did.
officiated our marriage. So
Maggie and Pete hosted Thanksgiving dinner. And Robert's brother was there. Several people were there. Lots of friends and all this. And everybody went out on the back deck to smoke and talk or whatever.
Oh, I know now.
And Maggie sat down in a wicker chair and the bottom fell out of it, and she had on this little short dress. And so her booty went down in the hole and her legs were straight up.
Maggie, like Thanksgiving, she fell through a chair and flashed our uncle everything.
She didn't have
because she
anything
wasn't wearing
on under her
underwear.
dress.
Or,
Which was only funny because
and then she
Maggie's
couldn't
like
get out of the
90
chair,
pounds, so she got
and
stuck.
we were all laughing too bad to help her.
Peter and I met in high school. Probably specifically in drama club when we were doing play productions. Oh yeah, he came to a lot of parties at my house. He kind of stayed. My mom was pretty liberal, so most of my friends were guys and they stayed the night like girls have slumber parties, but with boys. And as long as we were behaving, that was fine. And she was clearly appraised that I did not actually want to behave with Pete, but it was not time yet. So yeah, he's my mom's favorite. That is true.
It says, from our kitchen window there's a park you can see. We spent time by the water once, just you and me. Crossed over the tracks and filmed our new play. She found a rock for your sister that put a smile on your face. I loved you so much then, and even more do I now. Take a trek to that park and you'll soon find out how. There's an overpriced structure we laughed at that day. Your next clue's holding it up, so go get it if you may. 25 years in the blink of an eye. A whole generation. Go get your mama tissue. A whole generation we've watched go by. Now's a good time to relive the past. Haven't even started. By embracing this life we have built that will last. Once again, I will send you on a journey of clues, this time at the place where our lives have bloomed. Thank you. Think of what we have done, how our lives have been preserved. How this home, this land,
and our life is what we work to deserve. From the beginning, my vision might have been questioned, but your faith in my plan begin with equestrian. For clue number 2, go to the place we don't need. It was here when we moved to the house, horses we don't have to feed.
Well, I'm his mother. I'm Pete's mother. I'm Maggie's mother-in-law. How about you, buddy?
I met Pete when he was about 4 years old.
Pete kind of came in as a transfer from California to a hillbilly school. It was kind of interesting. He definitely stood out in the school, being a California boy versus all these guys wearing Garth Brooks t-shirts at the boom of Garth Brooks. And it was interesting, and you could tell Pete wasn't having it. He wasn't a part of the social part of it. He was there to get his education and move on and move forward with his career. He was just kind of a different breed.
What I like about Pete, he's never pissed me off. Never. I've never had a major difference of opinion where we didn't talk for 5 years. I've always loved him. He's a constant.
He's very stable, level.
The moment I met Pete Spencer, literally my soul leapt and said, almost as if it was biblical proportion, where John's mother and Jesus' mother met, and the children leapt at each other. My soul met Pete's soul, and I said, "There's my brother."
The thing I remember the most about Maggie and Pete from way before they were dating or anything was when they were in high school, and Pete got snowed in with our family. Supposed to be just come over for a little while. I think we were stuck at that house for like a week.
It was a lot of fun.
And my mom and dad finally dug out to get to town because there were 6 of us plus a couple extras. They got out finally to get to the store. And as soon as they left the drive, Pete made us clean the entire house. Because we'd been trapped for so long. Yes. It was the worst time ever.
Do I think my penis is bigger than Pete's? You know, that night under the stars when we measured it, I think I won.
Clue number 2.
Says, on that first night that I held you in bed, the same night you dejected my fears in my head, I slept very little, don't think it was just me, awake holding you from 11:51 to 3:33. If you go to that place where you first came and stayed, you'll find your next clue, and with you I trade. The name that tells all who is in that small box. Take it out of the door and bring it to me, and I'll give you a gift for setting me free. Let's go to the doors.
The barn is not special, just a way to make bank. It set us up for life, reduced the chance we take. But you as a mother, as a wife and a lover, you found a place right away in the woods with a cover. The forest behind us first captured your heart. It made this land your next home, and that was the start. Your next clue is within it, just a short walk away. It's where you send all the kids, nieces, and nephews to play. Now we're going for a hike. Very best friends for years and years. So once you're a friend like that, where you're having not intimacy, but intimate conversations.
Just over the high school years, me and Maggie became close friends. But I mean, seriously, that's all it ever was. And people who don't know us really don't believe it. They're like, oh no, that can't be true.
It's like we would spar back and forth and disagree about things, and then come to the point where we would either agree to disagree or look at things differently, one or the other.
But I mean, really, we were just friends. I was very active in the dating scene. That's what you want to call it. And she was not. Of course, she was a few years behind me.
And so that was, kind of a slow thing. But no, I'd say by 16, I was absolutely, definitely, firmly in love with Pete.
And So when she was 16 and I was 18, I had a job interview in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I decided I wanted to make a road trip out of it.
I'd actually gone on a trip with Pete when I was in high school to Denver, Colorado with a bunch of good friends.
And what we were gonna do is stay in Denver with a fourth friend, Charlene. We said, hey, come along. Of course, she's 16 years old. And this many years later, to think back that her parents said, yeah, sure, go ahead, is a little bit wild. But to put it into perspective, Maggie was an exceptionally intelligent, responsible person who could very well be trusted to her own devices. And this was a chance for her to go and see a friend of hers and have an adventure. So I would say that we became close on that trip. When I say close, I don't mean, there was nothing romantic of the sort. In my mind, there was nothing romantic of the sort. She'll tell a different story that, she was fawning after me or whatever. She sure never showed any signs of it. So
Who fell in love first?
Definitely me, 100%, no question. Yep. Like a little duck. I was 20. I had decided this is it. And I thought he was still dating someone else at the time.
I'd been dating a gal for some time, maybe not quite 2 years, but I don't know that we were a full match, but we'd been together long enough that it was time for her to meet my parents and other friends and family. And so she traveled one summer with me to Missouri. But it was on that trip that Maggie first met her. Oddly enough, when Amber got on the plane and she went home, me and Maggie spent time together, and it was sort of weird. It was at the end of that trip, I just knew. I said, I can't stay with this Amber girl. It just wasn't right. It's like I knew that my feelings were for somebody else. The love and the passion, what it was that I knew I felt for Maggie. It was special.
I had decided this is it. Like, I'm probably not gonna get any hotter. It's probably downhill from here. Also, I'm getting a little impatient. It was probably 6 years down the road. And so that was my Get Pete trip. It was, we're doing it or we're not. And so I flew down there, and that's when we started dating. And then I moved down there 2 months later.
Down where?
Up there, Washington. And then that was in October, and he proposed to me on Christmas Eve, and we were married January 9th.
So it was Thursday that day on the 10th of July. I was sporting with friends, not too well, but I tried. A wise woman was there with her man and her kid. She gave us some advice, and listen, I did. That was a decisive fact for me to forego my fears and tell you my feelings and chance on the tears. If you go there today, they are closed, I am sure, but in front of that place there stands just to lure. You'll need some loose change, but for today it's the one. On the ceiling of it, you'll be closer to done.
Do you know what it is?
I know it's a bowling alley.
Let's go.
The fun you have hosting family and friends, the treehouse, the memories you will love to the end. I do love these woods and the peace that they bring, but our home and its potential from the start had bling. From the very beginning, you and I made a plan to host what we loved with the knowledge we can. It was a first at our place to be given your name, enter as guest, due for clue 4 to explain. So we need to go to the basement.
I think they're teamwork in a lot of things, like business and just making things work out in general. is they're very synergized. They're very together on everything, and I think that's why they've been together for so long.
So I think there's a lot of reasons that they've been married for as long as they have been. I think there's a lot of communication, which is pretty good. Dad's really good about driving and paying. That's what he said. He drives and he pays.
I don't know. They probably love each other to death, and it was first crush and first sight, you know?
Laughter.
Yeah. And and you say laughter, but just laughing about it.
Right.
So, I mean,
being able to laugh at everything, good times, bad times, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
You know what, man? They love each other. In fact, I'd say that Maggie was in love with Pete before Pete ever knew it. And it took him a little while to catch up. And, they've been through a lot. And they keep going and they keep doing it. And they never give up on each other, and they compromise and they talk, and, they make it happen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, basically because of Maggie. It's basically because she's a cool chick. Like, she is a cool chick. But he's cool. He's really good.
They really have the perfect working relationship. Like, they have got all the kinks figured out. Pete does Pete's thing, Maggie does Maggie's thing, and it they complement each other in that way.
Dogged determination. Neither one of them will let anything beat them. They are there for each other. They're there for their family. They're there for their friends. That dogged determination, that tribalism that says, you are my people, is something the world needs more of. Something that I need more of.
I think the reason it works so good for them is because I've never heard one of them say to the other one, I changed the baby last, it's your turn. I did this last, it's your turn. You got to do this, now I get to do this. They've never, ever, ever, they always do everything they can to support each other and be there for each other and help each other dream their dreams.
Both of them value the same things in life. Number one being family. And I think everybody that's ever been to their house knows that once you walk in that door, you're family, whether you're blood related or not. And they know that family comes first. And they've lived their life that way.
I think Pete and Maggie have been together for so long because Pete wants to be with us, but because Pete wants to be with Maggie and vice versa.
I think they've been together for 25 years and will be together for many, many more. Mostly in part to the fact that not only do they love each other, but they respect one another. I've never seen either of them disrespect the other. They have that love that I think we all want.
Oh, yeah.
And we've all been finding.
I can only venture from my own experience in marriage that if you marry your best friend, you're gonna have a lot greater chance for success. And I also suspect that Maggie's probably the best wife in the world. But those are my suspicions, and whether or not that's true, but that's kind of Mom's take on it, that Maggie's probably the best wife in the world.
Says the first day you arrived was a wet summer day. We chose to have lunch and catch up and play. I took you to a place with good food and a pier. It was there that I wanted to overcome all my fear. We ran through the rain. You were drenched and so fine. How I wanted you to know that I thought you should be mine. It's where it all started, where I had no more doubts about your role in my life and what we were all about. If you go there right now and walk out on the pier, you'll find your surprise on a bench that is near.
This place in our home we created was the start. The next big idea came straight from your heart. We both worked so hard to make this dream come true, but the next clue will remind you I'm anchored in you. You asked for a yurt, what a silly thing to desire. Your vision, my execution, the result truly fire. We created big and small spaces that each bear your name. These creations bring peace to our guests just the same. Go to the small one to find clue number 5. It is here that I express my gratitude for our lives.
Yurt is like a Mongolian tent, kind of. So it's a big circular,
Well, a yurt is a traditional Asian hut. It's normally rounded in fashion.
It is basically a giant tent that is like a kind of makeshift cabin. If you're living in a circus tent. I don't know, but it's a really fun thing, and it's really cool to do it.
It is a pod. It is a house that's self-contained, that has all under one space. I still really don't know.
It's a tent.
It's Maggie's dream project.
You I see every time I reflect on our life. You're the rock of our family, as a mom and a wife. Sorry. I knew long before 25 years ago that you were special and together we'd flow, but I never knew how strong you were inside. When we lost all our stuff and your strength kept us alive. You supported my dream for our family's future, made sacrifices not planned, and kept your sense of humor. We've laughed and cried with struggles and success. The hardest part of all, raising kids in this mess. After 25 years, most days are now mundane, but my heart skips a beat when I think of what we made. It is us, you and I, made stronger together. Alone we are good, but as one stronger than ever. The future still holds both joy and pain, success and failures, more knowledge to gain. Our kids will be loved and screwed up on our watch, but they'll know how we loved and we reached for top notch. There's nothing in life that we can't overcome. The next 25 will fly by. Life is not done. Come to the Mega where I wait for you now, where I promise to love you and renew my vow.
4 years ago. Don't start crying yet. Are you okay? No? Told you it was dead.
Okay.
We're getting married.
Maggie.
Look what I got.
They live happily ever after.
Oh, you look very nice.
Be crying?
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Okay.
keep it going. Another 25 years, another 50 years, maybe, hopefully.
Congratulations to you guys, and thank you for accepting me as part of the group and part of the family. Means a lot to me, and definitely wish you another 25, 50, 75, however it may be.
You're such assholes. I just love you so much, the two of you.
So I guess to mom and dad, good job on the last 25 years and some pretty awesome kids. And to the next 25, and I'll probably be there for the 50th. And maybe Drew.
So happy to still be friends after all these years. So happy to see you guys have grown into the big family that you are. And so happy to see you guys still so much in love, just like you were when you started.
Congratulations. I think it's awesome. I think it's super awesome that you guys have made it 25 years. I think it's awesome who you are as people, who you are as business owners, who you are as parents, family, individuals. All the things that you do are super awesome.
I love you. Both. That's all.
I wish them best wishes. I really love them a whole bunch, and I want them to stay together for another 25 years or more.
Pete and Maggie, you showed up. You have been transformational in my life, and I don't want to think about a world that doesn't have a Pete and Maggie in it.
You have definitely set the bar high, and we're looking forward to the next 25. And Pete, don't think you're getting out of it now, because you're in it for life.
You're stuck.
Sorry.
I want to know why he looks more like Casey